Good morning and welcome to our show. It's always good to see this crowd. It's great to see how it's grown. Every year I love to see this crowd getting bigger. And you know, last year we outgrew our facility. We came to this new one. This looks terrific, but we sold this out too. And so we had to close registrations last week. And so before I go forward with my talk, I want to say to all of you, thank you for your enthusiasm. We have some amazing features to share with you this morning. Things we've been working on all year. I get to show them. This is a great moment. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and I know a lot of our developers have been looking forward to it. We want to share these with you. But before I do, I want you to be sure you understand why we wrote them and what the goal is behind every feature that we ever write. So here it is. We think that the magic moment in any technology industry is not the moment at which that technology is invented. And we think it's not the moment that the first product ships. We think that the magic moment is when you first get power and simplicity together. It could take years to develop a promising technology to that point. Some technologies may never even reach that point, but until you do, until you get this moment, that technology is not ready to change the world. So this is our goal. We want to give you this moment, this power plus simplicity moment in the apps that govern work. There's a world of work going on, more than anybody in this industry ever imagined or dared to put on a slide. And we're on the threshold of fundamentally transforming the way it all happens. So this is incredibly, incredibly exciting. At Appian, our mission is growing. We're broadening our mission, and we're changing it, but we haven't left behind what we've been good at in the first place. We still do BPM. We'll always do BPM. But we're applying BPM technology to the place where it can add the most value. We are now a platform for building custom applications across your enterprise. Now, the typical enterprise has a lot of custom apps. It has custom apps and it has packaged apps. And you need both. Of course you need both. Custom applications are essential in order to behave your way, in order to run the business, to live up to your brand, to be distinctive, to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. You need custom applications. Unfortunately, there are a few problems with them, as done today. They tend to be expensive and they take a long time to roll out. There's no clear upgrade path, so they tend to fall quickly behind the times. They don't integrate well, and they present a long and a complicated security perimeter to defend. I've got some icons to illustrate those. Despite all this, the world spends, as that video pointed out, $100 billion a year, every year, building and maintaining custom applications. The typical organization has thousands of custom applications. I'm sure every person in this audience uses custom applications in their enterprise, and if I had to guess, I'd say they're probably some of your least favorite applications. They are. Appian has a better answer. We're making custom applications simple and powerful. We use a model-driven design interface to rapidly create and easily modify your existing applications. Rapidly create new ones, easily modify the ones you have. We offer an intuitive interface, right, so that you can get broad adoption and ease of use. I got some icons here too. Points. We have comprehensive and certified security, and we keep it up to date. And we offer our interface natively on every mobile device, today's favorites and tomorrow's. This is the way to do custom apps. This is the magic moment in a $100 billion a year industry. All this, and I haven't mentioned our best feature. Our best feature is this. This is the way custom apps are done today. They're done as a series of separate silos. Every one of them isolated, isolating its data, isolating its users. That's custom apps today. All right, we take a fundamentally different approach. With Appian, all of your apps are offered on one platform, but also in one environment. What I mean by that is you log on once. You log on and you see every app that's been built. You tap into all your data. You see all your tasks. You collaborate with all the users across the enterprise. You become more aware. You become empowered. You become part of a broader community instead of isolated when you get into your app. You could even say that our best feature is you. Our best feature is your latent assets. Our best feature is the data you've got tucked away in some application. People can't see it. Our best feature is the worker who has more to say than you're letting them say. Our best feature is the opinions that don't get spoken, and the collaborations that don't happen, and the awareness that doesn't happen, the opportunities you can't seize because you can't rally people around them. That's the best thing we've got. Oops, don't want to get ahead of myself here. All right. Everything I've talked about so far is already in use. We're proud of these features. You're using them today. Hundreds, thousands of people are using these features to improve the way they work. If you've seen our press releases lately, you've seen we've had some growth, this is the reason. Right? We're offering a new kind of value. We're delighted at the uptake. We thank you for that. Everything I've said so far, though, you're already using. I want to move on to talk about the things that you're not using, the things you haven't seen yet. The next part of my talk is going to be about features that we're releasing right now. I want you to know, though, before I get into them, that every one of these features is available today. There aren't any futures being mentioned in this presentation. Everything I'll talk about, you can download and use 5 minutes after I finish speaking. In Appian, the amount of value we add is proportional to how many applications you're running. The more the better. The more sharing, the more participation, the greater that environment you're all logging into. So naturally, it would make sense for us to make it easy for you to have as many applications as possible. We would want you to be able to develop more applications faster than ever before, and that's what we've done. Our commitment to you this year, and the challenge we put on ourselves, is that we will cut in half the time to build every application during the course of 2015. So that you can build twice as much with the same team. It's a tall order. But when you see what I'm about to show you, I think you'll agree that we're going to hit our goal. We've built an entirely new application designer. It's simple, it's clean, it's elegant. It's a list. It offers you forward flow. When you're building the pieces of an application, you can build the pieces as you need them, instead of being told that you don't have the right connector to this one or the right folder and you have to go back and start somewhere else. We've cleaned all that up. It used to be complicated. We've made it simple. Take a look at this, for example. This Appian Designer interface shows a list of all of your applications. Click into one of those applications, you'll see what's inside. The truth is, an application is nothing but a bunch of objects. It's some rules, some forms, some logic, some users, some roles. We've simply put all these into a list. You can surf them, you can sort them, you can filter them, you can click on one and see what it's got. You can navigate easily. We have given you the simplest approach we possibly can to bundling together these objects, making new applications, migrating them, and owning them. We've made it easy to do things that used to be difficult. Take, for example, finding dependencies, right? This is a classic headache, frankly, in the past. You've got one object. You want to change that one object, but you're not sure what you'll be affecting. What other objects maybe use the one that I'm about to modify? Right? That used to be really difficult, but now, click on an object and look up the dependencies. There they are. Those 5 things, that's what you're going to change. So you can manage that. I would love to walk you through every piece of this gorgeous new interface, but we've got a session to tell you all about it in 2 hours. Malcolm Ross is going to be highlighting this in his technology presentation, and I've only got 30 minutes, so I'm going to have to move on, but this is great, and I hope you all stick around to find out more about it. We did more, though. We also designed an entirely new graphical user interface designer. This allows you to lay out the look of a form or an interface entirely graphically. We've been wanting to do this since last year. You may remember that last year we announced this great new technology called Sail. And Sail objects were going to compose every new interface and every new form you built in Appian. Well, At that time, we all wanted to be able to do it graphically. Now we can. We've got this designer. Let me show you how it works. I've started up this new service request form. I'm going to add a component to it. Here's how I do it. I click on Add Component. Let me choose the user picker, and it appears. Requested by is now appearing in my service request form. I'll add another one. Here's a new component. This time I'll put a drop down. And there it is. It's exceptionally easy. It's just as easy to modify. I'm choosing, first I lay out the zones in a new interface, and then every zone I fill piece by piece using these graphical components. I can rearrange them, remove them, edit, anything I like. And it's incredibly intuitive. If I stayed with this, right, I could show you I would finish this form in 5 or 10 minutes. And if I ever came back to it and wanted to change it, that would be incredibly simple too, because it's all laid out. I wouldn't have to face a column of code and try to wrap my mind around it. It would just make sense, like this one does. So this is a great start, but I'm not even halfway through the features I want to tell you that we're shipping right now. Here's the next one. For a long time, Appian has made an assumption that maybe we shouldn't make. And the assumption is that all your users are alike, that every user who logs onto Appian has the same needs and the same patterns of work and the same tolerance for complexity. But really, it's not the case. Our users break out into different kinds of groups. We've got knowledge workers, task workers, and customers, and they all have fundamentally different needs out of their software. Knowledge workers, for example, they like the big picture. They're synthesizers. They want to see a broad range of information, bring it together, and make up their mind. They're part of the conversation. For knowledge workers, we offer the standard Appian interface that you're all very familiar with. But that may not work for everybody. Task workers focus on one area of the business. They have a relatively narrow need for information, but they want convenience much more than knowledge workers need it. Task workers need to be able to go anywhere in one click. Task workers need a minimum of distraction and complexity. They never want to get lost in the interface. They always want their area presented to them. They don't want to navigate. They don't want to deal with maybe a news feed. They want a few simple elements presented so they never get lost in it. And for those workers, we're introducing today Appian Sites. This is a new way to consume Appian, a new interface that you'll be able to roll out to the workers who have a narrow interest in the business. Those who want to do less training, those who have fewer tasks and less synthesis in their job description. Finally, customers. Customers interact with our technology in an exceptionally narrow way. There's probably just a few things that customers do when they contact Appian, but those few things must be nested within a customer quality presentation. You've got to render whatever functionality you offer to a customer within a pixel-perfect screen, defined largely by marketing considerations. You don't want it to look like the product you just bought. You can't expose an Appian screen to a customer. You're going to have to give them something that fits within an HTML page. All right, so I challenge you to find the Appian in that page. Hey, raise your hand if you see it. There, I've got a few. We got a few. It's in the lower right. Here, I'll circle it. That's the Appian, coexisting perfectly with a third-party web page. So we want you to be able to access Appian from any direction, from any profile. Any kind of a user should be part of our community, including your customers, including your task workers, and of course, as always, including your knowledge workers. We have one more way that we're announcing right now to access Appian information. And this one isn't an interface. This is an API that's going to allow you to pull information out of Appian for use in other applications. So for example, you could take a report from Appian and all the data that feeds that report and consume it elsewhere. Or you could take a rule so that the rules you write in Appian become standard across your enterprise. Alternatively, you could run Appian as a headless rules engine. And of course, records. Appian is great at gathering information from across your enterprise. We want to be able to use that information for other applications as well, and leverage the way that Appian brings together a briefing on any topic. So now you can use data in records, all the records and all the data that comprises those records you may access and pull from any third-party application using our new API. We're serious about being a hub of information in your enterprise. And so we're serious about it both from the collection standpoint and from the dispersion standpoint. We've got you covered both ways. All right. You may be aware, you probably are, that Appian believes in a write once, publish everywhere future. We think that every piece of content you create, every application you write, should be available on every screen you carry. We think work should follow you home, in a good way. We think that you should have total equivalency across all of these screens, that the functionality should work just the same way. You shouldn't have to be trained. You shouldn't have to do anything different on any of your screens. Your enterprise should be portable, right? And it should be native. I say native a lot when I talk about mobile, and what I mean by that is that we're not doing an HTML approach to mobility. We're not writing our interface in HTML and saying we're now mobile because whatever device you have can read HTML. We understand that that would be mobile, but it wouldn't be the quality that we're aspiring to. We want you to have a native experience, by which I mean you're going to download our mobile app from the Apple Store or the Google Store. You're going to download the app, install it, log into your Appian application, and everything will be there perfect. And at the same time, you'll have an application that's written on the native OS. So it'll work like it was written for the Apple device or for the Android device. And it'll have access to the operating system level components, like the GPS or the voice recorder or the camera. We're not just giving you mobile, we're giving you native mobile. Speaking of which, now would be a perfect time to bring up mobile first, which is the buzzword du jour that everybody has to talk about when they bring up mobile these days. And I think it's a fine thing to bring up. I think it's a worthy remediation for everyone out there who's been putting mobile last all these years. But it doesn't represent my vision of the future of this industry. I believe that the future we're moving toward is one of mobile and desktop equivalency, right? Sort of an indifference, a global indifference to whether it's global or mobile or desktop. Do you remember max headroom? Right? Yes, some of you do. I hesitate to bring up max in a dignified setting like this, but max headroom was a digitized pitchman for New Coke in the 1980s. And more or less unforgettable, as I can tell from all the chuckles here. Anyway, Max was a talking head, and he appeared on screens. So you always just saw him from the shoulders up on a screen. He got so popular in the 80s that he briefly had his own television program. And if you remember this, I mean, I'm sure some people, I wouldn't watch that, but I'm sure some people probably saw it. On that television program, there were a bunch of kids, and the kids would run around, and they would get into adventures, and Max would appear on screens to help them out. And no matter where they went, they would encounter Max, right? No matter how unlikely. So they would get trapped in the sewers, for example, and against all odds, there would be a television down there, and Max would appear on the television, and then that's how they would escape. Anyway, that's pretty much my vision. That's pretty much it. All my best ideas come from the 80s, so that's pretty much my vision for where mobile desktop is going. I think a decade from now, we're not going to be talking about mobile versus desktop. We're not going to care which one of them is first, right? I believe in a future where content is portable, we're totally screen agnostic. Screens are everywhere. Software should follow. 30 years later, it's Max Headroom's world. Okay, so you may remember that a year ago at this event, we showed Appian running natively on Google Glass. That was fun. That was fun, and we got a little press for it, and hopefully you saw it, and it made a neat demonstration. It's not that we thought you were running your enterprise on Google Glass. We're just trying to make a point. And the point is, no matter what interfaces the future brings you, we've got you covered. That's a really important point to make. That's a big difference between the way Appian does custom apps and the way the rest of the world does custom apps. We do custom apps so that you always can use our application on whatever device you're carrying. And the typical custom app, you know, it never runs on any device for which it wasn't written in the first place. So that's a great point to make. And so we couldn't help ourselves. We made it again. Please check out our booth. Please check out our booth today or tomorrow, and you'll see Appian apps running natively on 2015's hot device, the brand new Apple Watch. I haven't yet seen an Apple Watch, but I understand that we got some on Friday and we made it work over the weekend. I will say that this illustration is not the way it looks. I had to make this deck by last week, and I haven't even seen how it works. So this is the only thing in my presentation that doesn't look the real way. But I couldn't do it because the Apple Watch just came out. All right, so one more thing. Actually, I can't say that. That's Steve Jobs' line. But we have one last thing that I want to share with you. Appian applications now work offline. That means that when you lose reception, when you walk off the grid, Appian still works. And you can still take actions, and all of your actions will be stored on the device, securely encoded, and uploaded in batch when you get back on the grid. The interface looks almost the same as it ever did, but we're going to notify you with a neat black flag along the bottom that just says offline. You can even make that disappear if you don't like it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to notify us. You don't have to cache any files. You don't have to switch modes. You might not even notice that you're offline. It just works. It's just totally seamless. Hey, for this feature and for all the other ones that I just announced, which is the most features we have ever announced as a company at any quarter or any event, I would like to stop here and get a round of applause for the Appian engineering team, please. Thank you. It's a great team. Now I want to switch to real-world impact. We've talked about features. Let's see them in action. All right? I'm going to tell you a story that you will not hear during the rest of Appian World. I've strategically picked a customer who isn't presenting, and it's Ryder Truck. Ryder Systems is the name of the company. Naturally, they rent trucks, and you all know that. You see them all over the place. They're a major company. They've got a series of applications that automate the flow of trucks. Trucks are checked out. They're invoiced. They're returned. They're repaired. This forms a cycle. Every part of that cycle is an application, and all of those applications are written in Appian. They together form a unified whole, and because they're unified, it's now easier to collaborate. You can track a truck. You could see where it's been, where it's going, what repairs it needs. It's so much easier now to keep track of all the work that's happening in the Ryder system. That's great, but it's just the beginning. Just the beginning. These days, Ryder field workers, the people who work at the lot, who check out trucks and inspect them and so on, they all use Appian on tablets. And as they go around the lot, they're taking photographs of the trucks. They see a safety issue, a scrape, right, whatever. They see a flat tire, they take a photo. And that way, any problem that they notice as they ambulate is immediately relayed back to headquarters where repairs can be taken, right? They'll know not to give that truck out the next time. They'll know to quickly come by with a flat tire repair unit. The quality of trucks has gone up 10% in customer surveys since they rolled out this application. Another thing that's happened is that they're now checking the trucks out far faster. They've got an application they call signature capture, which means they can do the entire checkout process on a tablet in the yard with the customer and the truck all standing together. Now, instead of going to multiple locations to do the truck out like you typically would, you go to the front desk, then you go to your truck, now you do everything in one place, and it's cut the time that it takes to do the checkout from 18 to 22 minutes down to 9 to 14 minutes. So a huge improvement in the time it takes to get your truck. Also, many more people fill out customer surveys because of this new system. Because now you're in the field, you're typing in your email address as part of the checkout process. You can also do the signature, and we capture that right there in Appian. They're typing in their email address, they're sent the customer survey, and then they can fill it out. You know, responses to those customer surveys are up tenfold in the course of 1 year, from 2,000 to 20,000 customer surveys completed. Ryder makes a promise to every customer. They say you'll get a clean vehicle, a working vehicle, and you'll get it within 20 minutes. 20 minutes, that is, of arriving at the Ryder facility. Well, since they implemented this system and increased the speed and improved the checkout and monitored the quality better, they have cut the incidence of non-compliance with that promise almost in half, and they now fulfill their promise more than 99% of the time. It's a terrific achievement, and needless to say, the customers love it. Customer satisfaction rose 200 basis points across the entire company after this was rolled out. Ryder is a great company and a great success story, and we're proud to be working with them. If you'd like any more information on this case study, it was profiled in the Wall Street Journal 2 weeks ago, and you can find a link to it on our website. This would also be a great time to mention all of the other stories that you'll be hearing this week. Each one of these customers of ours has been willing to share their story with you. And I want to thank them right now. I just want to say, for all of you who have been willing to share your stories and your lessons learned and talk about what you've been able to accomplish, we appreciate that very much. It's what makes Appian events special. It's why you come here. I'm sure that's the best thing you'll get out of this meeting, is hearing these success stories. So we are deeply appreciative to all of these companies for being willing to present and the preparation they've put into that. Now is a good time to mention a few certifications that we've recently achieved. Top one here has to be FedRAMP. For those of you not in the federal government, let me explain what this is. FedRAMP is a cloud security certification that is exceptionally difficult to achieve. I'm told that our application was 5 reams of printed paper. Of the thousands of cloud companies that do business with the federal government, less than 24 have this certification. But Appian does. And we want to say, by the way, thank you to the FTA for helping us to file our application for this security. We also have the PCI DSS compliance, and that is another cloud. This is about card transactions, credit card-based transactions. And finally, I'm proud to announce that Appian has opened its 8th international hosting location in Germany. Appian is not a normal company. I totally agree with Janelle. Not a normal company. We don't want to be normal, particularly when it comes to our partnership with you. I think Appian is distinguished in its unusual commitment to your success, and we always have been. So one of the things that makes us different. And so when we innovate, we want to innovate not just with our features in the product, but also with our services. We're serious about this. We mean to be as innovative in the services, in the partnership services we offer, as we were in the technology. And I'd like to share with you some of the innovations that we have in partner services. Our training, the purpose of our training is to teach the world to use our new method of building custom applications. We know it's different. We know we're offering something for which there are no direct substitutes, and we know that you need to get some information about that. It's not enough for us to just build a better mousetrap. We have to let you know how to use it. And so our training has gotten much richer and much deeper. We are dramatically increasing the course catalog this year so that you can have a deep education in how to use this product. We have also set up new training centers in Sydney and London, so the sun never sets on an Appian training center, and also so that there's one relatively convenient for you. And of course, if none of them happen to be convenient for you, we will bring training to your location. We frequently do that as well. We introduced this year something we call coached training. It's on the computer, it's over the internet, but there's a human being involved. You're getting instruction from a live human being, even though it's on the computer. So it's similar to CBT, computer-based training, in its convenience, but it's far more effective because of the personal factor. How good is your Appian consultant? We're tracking them. We're measuring them so that you can know. Our new A scores is going to attach a number to the expertise of every Appian practitioner in the world. We're grading them based on their test scores in all of our certification tests and the history of implementations they've rolled out and their participation in the community. And we will give you, the customer, a report like this. And let me actually stop to point out this report because I think it's amazing. Let's say that you're considering each one of these candidates to be an implementer on your new Appian rollout, and you want to know which ones of them to hire. Give us these names. We'll send you a report like this. We're giving you a micro resume of each one of them, along with an Appian score, an A score, and then separate grades on how well certified, how much they've done on implementations, and how much of a participant they are in the community. So you could scan and say, I definitely want a community participant. I don't care too much about history, implementations, and I do want some good certifications. And then you find your person. I think this is tremendously valuable. I think that efficient markets run on clear information. I have an economics background, so of course I would think that. But I believe that great practitioners want to be recognized. I think that project managers want to know who they're hiring before they start the project. I think that everybody benefits when the information is clear. So not only have we made A scores, not only have we given you these reports, but also we're coming up with a series. Oh, by the way, here you can just, the circles, I should have put that out sooner. We're giving elite certifications. Elite certifications note which practitioners have achieved the highest A scores. Now you could scan a resume, or just quickly, you could ask a partner, just send me silver certified resources, and they'll know what you mean. Anybody with an A score above 20 is now Appian Silver certified. Above 40, and they're Appian Gold certified, and above 60, which is a really impressive score, by the way. Theoretically, you could get 100, but above 60 is impressive. They're Appian Platinum certified. And now you know, if you meet someone with an Appian Platinum certification, that they're the real deal. If I were starting a project today, this is the first thing I'd look for. A scores is one thing that I think other companies should be copying from Appian. Another thing I think they should be copying is Appian Labs. Appian Labs is a program whereby we send our top experts to do a deep technical review of your implementation and then give you a report on what we found. We dig into the information. We've changed the format, by the way, this year. Now we spend more time on each report. We do a report every quarter, and we finish the survey with a live presentation from the expert who did the report to the executive on the client side who owns the project. We explain all of our conclusions. We back them up. We have a conversation. We make recommendations. This is exceptionally valuable. And we only charge $25,000, which means we're not making money on it. The reason we do this is to make you successful. In the course of developing the Appian Labs product, we developed a really neat set of diagnostics. We got some scripts together so that we could extract information and build a great data set and then automatically compare the data set that we gathered from one implementation to Appian expectations and recommendations and best practices and automate a series of recommendations about how the implementation should be changed in order to avoid trouble or improve performance. This is just a great thing, so we figured we should give it away. And that's what we've done. We've taken this Appian Health-Check, we've posted it, it's on Appian Forum, you can have it for free. You don't need to be a Appian Labs customer, no matter who you are, just download it and use it on your Appian implementation. Now, I brought this slide up earlier, and I wanted to come back to it. I like the slide, but I wanted to point out something new that you may not have noticed the first time. The old way of doing custom applications is a little bit different from the new way. The old way, in silos, means that you, as the developer of every new application, take responsibility not just for the logic that's at the center of an application, but for the bottom of the silo and the top of the silo, which means the integrations and the devices that it runs on, right? That proposition is getting less appealing as the world changes. You see, right now the world is changing. Mobility is becoming important. There are more mobile devices, more operating systems, more form factors than there has ever been. And you want to be able to run on all those. Not just the one that's popular today, not just the one that you wrote for. You want to run on all of them. And furthermore, the platform is getting, the bottom of the silo is getting more complex because the Internet of Things is giving us too many things to integrate with. Let me show you another diagram that says what I mean even better. This puzzle piece represents your last custom app. And it has little knobs to integrate with other things. So the knob that points up could be thought of pointing to the device. And the one to the right, let me see if I can get all those. No, okay. The one to the right could be thought of as pointing to another application that you need to integrate with. And the knob on the bottom could be pointing to the Internet of Things, or the data sources that power your application. Well, in the past, your puzzle piece really might have looked like this, but in the future, it's going to look like this. Because there's just too many things. There's too many devices. There's too many things in the Internet. There's too many other applications that you want to bind into. Because we're not willing to make dark silos anymore, we want to be part of a larger community. The puzzle piece is getting really, really complicated. This is how mobility and the Internet of Things are going to destroy the old model for building custom apps. And the reason why it's going to be essential to build custom apps on a platform in the future, even though we haven't done that in the past. We're going to take a horizontal approach to custom apps in the future because it's more cost efficient and it's more future proof. For too long, the software industry has told you that you have to lose your identity in order to be efficient. You have to behave like every other software company because you've been told that only packaged software can be modern or easy or secure. But it's time to stop thinking that way. It's time to realize that custom software can be as good as any application you run and no more expensive. Giving you good custom software is like giving you back your identity. It's allowing your organization to live up to its brand, to work in its own way, to follow its own unique circumstances, to differentiate itself in the marketplace, to create the relationship you want with your customers. That's what a good custom app will give for you, right? So we don't want to choose anymore between efficiency and identity. We want to live up to our own identity and do it efficiently at the same time. Just like we didn't want to choose between power and simplicity. No, we needed them together. In the same way, we don't want to choose between efficiency and identity. Appian's mission is to give you both. Our goal is to give you great custom applications so that you can live up to your identity, run the business your way, and not have to sacrifice any of the efficiency that makes you an effective business. That's our mission. I appreciate very much that you're part of our community. Enjoy our show.